Okay, so now Bholi was taken to school, right? There was a lot of change which she found, and that was striking for her. That it was for the first time that she had got washed and mended clothes. She never wore new clothes. Every time old clothes of her sisters were passed on to her, right? Now this was for the first time when her hair were oiled, they were made up properly, and she wore neat, clean, and iron clothes. If not new, at least she was wearing neat and clean clothes, right? So it was at that time when she started realizing that she was being taken to a place which was better than her home. Though initially she was scared, and when her father dragged her to school, she was visualizing the manner in which the cow Lakshmi was taken out of the house and she was sent into the market. So actually, her condition in her house was not good. Nobody loved her, nobody cared for her, nobody was bothered as a little girl. Even the parents, even the mother was not concerned how she was dressed up, what she was wearing, nothing like that sort. So she was like a leftover in the house. So it was for the first time that, though not out of concern for her, though for the social concern, the parents, we find, they were more concerned, as Ramlal says, that what will people say if she goes on to school in this manner, right? So she was made to wear that clean and iron clothes so that people should not think bad about Ramlal, not because of any kind of concern, any kind of parental concern towards Boli, right? Let's continue, Dakshita.
Ma'am, can you please scroll a little bit?
You have to start from when they
Bholi,
reached the school. Okay, Bholi did not know. Just a sec. Please continue.
Bholi did not know what exactly a school was like and what happened there, but she was glad to find so many girls almost of her own age present there. She hoped that one of these girls might become her friend. The lady teacher who was in the class was saying something to the girls, but Bholi could understand nothing. She looked at the pictures on the wall. The colors fascinated her. The horse was brown, just like the horse on which the Tehsildar had come to visit their village. The goat was like the goat of their neighbor. The parrot was green like the parrot she had seen in the mango orchard. And the cow was just like their Lakshmi. And suddenly Bholi noticed that the teacher was standing by her side, smiling at her. What's your name, little one? Bo. She could stammer no further than that. Then she began to cry, and tears flowed from her eyes in the helpless flood. She kept her head down as she sat in her corner, not daring to look up at the girls who she knew were still laughing at her. When the school bell rang, all the girls scurried out of the classroom, but Bholi dared to not leave her corner. Her head still lowered, she kept on sobbing Bholi. The teacher's voice was so soft and soothing. In all her life, she had never been called like that. It touched her heart. Get up, said the teacher. It was not a command, but just a friendly suggestion. Bholi got up. Now tell me your name. Sweat broke out of her whole body. Would her stammering tongue again disgrace her? For the sake of this kind woman, however, she decided to make an effort. She had such a soothing voice, she would not laugh at her. Bo, bo, bo. She began to stammer. Well done, well done. The teacher encouraged her. Come on now, the full name. Bholi. At last, she was able to say it and felt relieved, as if it was a great achievement. Well done. The teacher patted her affectionately and said, put the fear out of your heart and you will be able to speak like everyone else. Bholi looked up as if to really ask.
Okay. Now, the girl was in the school now. She noticed the environment. She found the environment quite familiar, just like her home. She sat on the floor along with other girls. Now, the teacher affectionately asked her her name. Because her speech was not very clear, she stammered. She was not able to speak up her name. She tried, but she was not able to read out tell the complete name. As a result, the other girls in the class, they started laughing at her, started mimicking her at her, right? But when the girl ran outside the class, as the bell rang, the teacher, in that affectionate tone, she asked the girl, "What was your name?" Boli, initially, she was not able to speak, but then, not in that commanding tone, in a very friendly tone, teacher motivated her to speak up, right? And finally, Boli was able to give her name. Now, this was for the first time that somebody had spoken to her in that affectionate tone. Because, as mentioned earlier, also, nobody in the house, not even the mother, not even the father, nobody in the house was concerned or was loving towards the girl, right? So, this was for the first time that somebody expressed that care, concern, and love towards her, right? Obviously, that motivated the girl. She gave her that name. She told her the name, and the teacher clapped for her, patted her, and Bholi looked up as if to ask really. So the teacher told her that, please, put out that fear out of you, and you will be able to do everything. So if you, even whatever the problem is, if you have that positivity around you, if somebody is there around you who inspires you, who motivates you, then obviously that, puts your that brings up your spirits, your you boost up your confidence on your own. So that happened with Bholi too, right? So let's see what happens next. Please continue, Dakshita.
Yes, yes, it will be very easy. You just come to school every day. Will you come? Bholi nodded. No, say it aloud. Yes. And Bholi herself was astonished that she had been able to say it. Didn't I tell you? Now take this book. The book was full of nice pictures, and the pictures were in color: dog, cat, goat, horse, parrot, tiger, and a cow, just like Lakshmi. And with every picture was the word in big black letters. In 1 month, you will be able to read this book. Then I will give you a bigger book, then a still bigger one. In time, you will be more learned than anyone else in the village. Then no one will ever be able to laugh at you. People will listen to you with respect, and you will be able to speak without the slightest stammer. Understand? Now go home and come back early tomorrow morning. Boli felt as if suddenly all the bells in the village temple were ringing and the trees in front of the schoolhouse had blossomed into big red flowers. Her heart was throbbing with a new hope and a new life. Thus the village year passed. The village became a small town. The little primary school became a high school. There were now a cinema under a tin shed and a cotton ginning mill. The mail train began to stop at the railway station. One night after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I accept Bishambar's proposal?" "Yes, certainly," his wife said. "Holy will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. A big shop, a house of his own, and I hear several thousand in the bank. Moreover, he's not asking for any dowry." "That's right, but he's not so young. You know, almost the same age as I am, and he also lives. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up." Shall I
Okay.
continue?
Now, no, wait. See, now Bholi has started going to school. She was doing well in school. The teacher was very affectionate, very loving towards her. The teacher motivated her that I'm going to teach you everything. She gave her a picture of book of pictures, and then she told her that, now then, once you complete this, I'm going to give you a thicker one, then a thicker one, and then you're going to learn everything. So Bholi was very happy going to school now, because she was in an environment which was more cordial for her, which was actually very much affectionate and loving towards her, right? Now there's a twist in the story. There was a proposal for Bholi. The proposal was by a man known as Bishambar, and Bishambar was a very wealthy man. He had his own house, he had a shop, he had a good bank balance, right? But The man was almost of Bholi's father's age. Means he was an old man of Ramlal's age. His first wife had died, so his children were now quite grown up, and he was seeking Bholi's hand for second marriage, right? Moreover, he limped also, means he was not able to walk properly. This was something which was very common in ancient India. We talk about few years back, few decades back, we will find this thing was there, that small girls, I would not even say young girls, I would say small girls, they were married to a man who was almost double of their age, married to men who were double of their age, right? This was really very disappointing for everyone, for the society at that time. But here we find Ramlal's wife, who was not concerned about this. Right? You will find it further in the next page when she says, what does this matter? The man is a wealthy man. He's not asking for any dowry. And otherwise, also, Boli is not going to get a better match than this. At least somebody is willing to marry him. So what if he is old? So what if he is having young children? Right? So what if he lives? So we find that motherly concern, parental concern, which should be there, that is missing there. And they just want to get rid of the girl, right? Let's continue from this. So, what does it matter?
So what does it matter? His wife replied, 45 or 50. It is no great age for a man. We are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her pox marks and her lack of sense. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life. Yes, but I wonder that what Bholi will say. What will that witless one say? She is like a dumb cow. Maybe you are right, muttered Ramlal. In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot, listening to her parents' whispered conversation. Bishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relations. With him for the wedding, a brass band a just a second. Playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession with the bridegroom riding a decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed to see such pomp and splendor. He had never dreamt that his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Bholi's elder sister, who had come for the occasion, were envious of her luck. When the auspicious moment came, the priest said, "Bring the bride." Bholi, clad in a red silken bridal dress, was led to the bride's place, near the sacred fire. Garland the bride, one of his friends prompted Bishambar Nath. The bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigold. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Bishambar took a quick glance. The garland remained poisoned in his hand. The bride slowly pulled down the veil over her face. "Have you seen her?" said Bishambar to the friend next to him. "She has poke marks on her face." "So what? You are not young either. Maybe what if I am to marry her? Her father must give me 5,000 rupees." Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishambar's feet. "Do not humiliate me so. Take 2,000 rupees." "No, 5,000. Or we go back. Keep your daughter." "Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village." "Then out with 5,000." Tears streaming down his face, Ramlal went in, opened and safe the counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at the bridegroom's feet.
Okay. Now, this is again something which was very much there in ancient India. I'm not saying ancient India, it's there today also. Dowry system and a curse of the society. See, the girl had to give a consent of marrying Bishambar, who was a man of almost of her father's age. He had young children. He limped, but then the girl could not take a stand. She could not say anything to her parents. So it was the day of the wedding, and the wedding was a grand one because Bishambar was a wealthy person, right? And here we find Bholi's sisters, they were jealous of her that she, being so ugly and unintelligent, still she's having such a grand occasion, grand wedding, which was not expected. Now, at the time of the wedding procession, when the garland exchange ceremony was going on, the boy had a glance at Bholi's, the boy, and not, it's not the boy, the bridegroom had a glance at Bholi's face. And it was shocking to see, and he found it was very shocking for him to find that the girl had poke marks on her face. On this, Bishamba tells a man standing next to him that, have you seen the girl? She's having poke marks. So the man says, so what? Not even you are not young. The girl is, she's a girl. She's very young, but you're not young. On this, he says that if I have to marry this girl, then I need to take 5,000 rupees from her father. So in a way, Bishamba was somewhere obliging Ramlal by marrying his daughter. So he asked for dowry of 5,000 rupees. Ramlal tries to convince him by saying that please be a little more considerate, take 2,000 rupees. But Bishambar is very rigid. So Ramlal, who is stuck in that condition, he cannot do anything. It's a matter of great honor, disrespect, and dishonor for him if the marriage procession, if that guest of the society goes back without Bishambar marrying his daughter. So he goes and brings 5,000 rupees and places the money, the bundle of notes at Bishambar's feet. Right now, again we find that uh, it was that much, it was again a vice in a society at that time, when the girl's parents have to agree to all the conditions of the bridegroom. So Bishamba Ramlal, who was very happy initially that they didn't have to give any dowry, but now they have to give a good sum. Maybe that 5,000 rupees was a big amount at that time. So he had to give that money to Bishamba. Let's continue. On Bishamba's greedy face. Dakshata, please continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the screen visible to you, Dakshata?
Yes, ma'am.
Please continue.
On Bishamber's greedy face appeared on a Bishamber's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He had gambled and won. Give me the garland, he announced. Once again the wheel was slipped back from the bride's face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective husband, and in her eyes there was neither anger nor hate, only cold contempt. Bishamba raised the garland to place it around the bride's neck, but before he could do so, Bholi's hand struck out like a streak of lightning, and the garland was flung into the fire. She got up, threw away the wheel. Pitaji, said Bholi in a clear, loud voice, and her father, mother, sisters, brothers, relations, and neighbors were startled to hear her speak without even slightest slammer. Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man.
Okay. Now on Bishamba's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He was very happy that he had taken that dowry amount from them. And now it was a time when Bholi took up her stand. See, that was what education has given her. That is what actually what education gives us. It's not just about that bookish knowledge. It's not about learning arithmetic. It's not about learning languages or having a good vocab. More than anything else, education gives us to raise our head, to have our own sound judgmental power, to understand what's right and what's wrong, and to take a stand, to face the world confidently. That was one thing which perhaps Bholi had learned by now. Right now, she took a stand. She said, "I am." When he was, when that again that he was about to exchange, they were about to exchange the garland. She flew away the garland. She said, "I don't want to get married to this man." She said, she told Ramlal that this. She simply said that take back your money. I'm not going to marry this man. See, the girl was of the opinion she had no objection in marrying a person who was of his father's age, just because her parents wanted her to do so. But when the man was a greedy one and he was looking for his father's money, the girl took the stand that she could never marry such a person, right? Now, the people who thought earlier that she was a simpleton, she was a fool, she was like a dumb cow, now they thought, oh God, this girl, she's so clever, she has such sharp voice, she's talking in that rude tone in front of this entire society. So it was very humiliating for Ramlal. So what happens next? Let's find out. Please read out this section fast.
Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guest began to whisper, "So shameless, so ugly, and so shameless." "Holy, are you crazy?" shouted Ramlal. "You want to disgrace your family? How some regard for your ijjat? For the sake of your ijjat," said Bholi, "I was willing to marry this lame old man, but I will not have such a mean, greedy, contemptible coward as my husband. I won't, I won't, I won't." What a shameless girl! We all thought she was a harmless dumb cow. Boli turned violently on the old woman. "Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb driven cow. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more?" Vishambarnath, the grocer, started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony and struck up a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with the weight of grief and shame. The flames, the flames of the
Please continue.
what? Am I audible?
Yeah.
What about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you? And Sulekha said in a voice.
Dakshara, please wait. I'll read out the last section. There is some disturbance from your side. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone. Ramlal turned to Poli and said, "But what about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you?" And Sulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady, "Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am?" The teacher had all along stood in a corner watching the drama. "Yes, Bholi, of course," she replied, and in her smiling eyes was the light of a deep satisfaction that an artist feels